I'm making this video to show you the Ford Performance ARB off-road bumper that's available through Ford. This bumper, this is what you get when you open the box. It's very well packed. My box was tore up and there's no damage to this bumper. Everything is individually bubble wrapped. So this is what you get. You get the two corner plates here. You get a mount. You get these other two brackets. All hardware is included. The directions are not with the bumper. You have to print them offline. There's a QR code in the box. It tells you where to find that information. It reuses the factory tow points in the front. It mounts the factory fog lights back into the bumper without modification. It is designed to take a worn winch. That's the only information that's available is a worn winch, but it's a 4.5 by 10. That's the pattern. And the way it mounts is it's going to mount so that it's facing forward. So you're going to have a clockable housing to get the release handle to go where you need it, or you're just going to have to reel it out by hand if you can't get your hand in there. Ford says this will fit a Warren Industries M8000, XD9000, 9.5 XP, 9.5 XDC, and a VR EVO10S winch. It also lists the rigid SR light bars, both 6 and 30-inch lengths, antenna and sand flag mounts, jacking points for off-road jacks. There will be other pictures in this video that show exactly where all those mounts are and what sizes they are. Alright, so I have the Warren winch controller mounted here. There's actually holes in the bumper for this to fit already. I did put 1/4-inch spacers in there because the way the wires hang over the back of the frame, they're very tight. Like, they get pulled tight up and over, so I raised it up to avoid that a little bit. And then they wrap right around the winch in the bottom. I got my Warren winch handle. The unlock handle is facing up. That's why you need a clockable housing, because this winch is mounted with the bottom towards the front. Clock the housing 90 degrees so that you can actually get in there and turn your unlock. If you left it on the top, it would actually hit the mounting plate back there. You'd not be able to turn that. So maybe with a smaller winch you could get away with it, but not on this setup. This bolt right here, it goes all the way through into the winch mount. So the one that comes with the Warren kit will not work. It's actually a solid rod behind this with a hole drilled in it. And it ended up being a 100mm bolt. So 10.9 hardness, 100mm. Best I could find was this flange bolt in town. And you can't really be long, because if you are, you will not can see that square nut in the back of the winch there, right there. That only has a little bit of gap. You gotta have the right size. So in this case, 100mm fit perfectly with the winch plate. This plastic shroud has to be removed if you put a winch on. With the bumper installation, they have you actually cut the edge of this off to make it shorter. This actually sits right underneath the radiator. It sort of directs the airflow from the grill down through the radiator. You could probably cut it up to get the winch to fit, but you'd cut 90% of it off, I think. I'm going to try to fix it when it's a little warmer outside, but for now I'm running without it. It hasn't been a problem. I used a Warn winch remote disconnect, which I mounted right here behind the headlight. I've just got her wired right up to the battery. The switch is temporarily installed right here for the disconnect. It will be in the cab when I complete the wiring, but that is the best I could do for now. Real quick tip here, mount your winch control on the passenger side of the truck. You can see that there is a little door on that right side of that picture. That is where your manual plug would go if your battery was dead or your winch control wireless stopped working. And you need the middle open so that you can see if your winch is spooling straight. You can look through that window. You can see right there on the right, and that will help you see how your winch is spooling up. Here I'd like to make a note. I installed the factory FX4 skid plate without the spacers that the kit supplied, and it hit on the bumper. So I had notched it out to work without the spacers, but then decided to install the spacers later. And it was still very close. You still might need to notch that. It looks like it was probably about rubbing, depending on how much flex and movement when you're driving around, but if you just install the black spacers shown in the area right here on the top of the skid plate, they're just more or less thick washers that fit in there and keep that skid plate off the bumper.